Hello. A lot of you have sent me emails and texts that you want to know more and can you have a reading. I'm going to post something that has a little bit more on the face. So if you go through that, because I do not do face to face, I do teach it, and there is the book. All right, so that kind of thing. All right, so when we're looking at, if you look at the first picture I've got there of Michael as the original, there's one and two next to each other, and it's heavenly, earthly, and human. Now, heavenly is the smallest, but once you tamper with that, which he did, he actually did his hairline, he influenced his hairline. So that means there's no family support and he's no longer thinking before he jumps or before he does something, like a child. They don't think, they just jump, that type of thing. Then his a human side of that is where the most tampering was done. I'll explain. So that means him as this human was no longer is how we viewed him eventually when that was done. And then the earthly side, which is the jaw, the chin, from the tip of his nose onwards, that was totally changed, which is a shame because in his own destiny, which I will do because it's just so amazing. But he just became so surgically enhanced that everything altered. That prosperous, that first picture you see and second picture you see, that prosperous face was was just diminishing. Okay. So with the forehead, he already has a wide forehead. So that makes him prosperous. It makes his life prosperous at the same time. What we have here is on the face, we call the face, you can have your face as the perfect arrangement. Now, the perfect arrangement is, think of it this way: you're sitting in an armchair, your back is supported in the armchair, your arms are comfortably supported, and then, in front of you, you've got somewhere to put your feet up. So the face is also that. In the second picture with all that hair, how amazing is that hair? I remember when I was teaching the archery in the US, in the summer camps, the kids used to call it nappy hair. I still can't work out why, but it had a ring to it anyway. So where am I? The perfect arrangement. So with the perfect arrangement, in picture it says what? So all that hair is just like, that is just whoa, okay, in face reading. That hair, so much of it, etc. I'll come back to it. Now, you've got what we call mountains. So mountains support you, like I said, in the armchair arrangement. So the nose, for instance, is you sitting in the armchair, right? And then you've got the turtle supporting you, the dragon and the tiger supporting you, and then you've got the phoenix where you learn from what you have learned, you expand on it and you fly forward. Okay. But remember, that was tampered with, so it didn't happen. All right. What happens though is we call these mountains, and mountains can actually fall, but they are supposed to fall naturally. As you mature, you learn the lessons. Each mountain then has, these lines. I do have lines, you just can't see them. You have these lines, and these lines were the lessons from certain times. Okay, so that's kind of how it is. So later on in life, mountains collapse, and rivers, which is all the wherever things come out from, your nose, your eyes, they attach to your mountains. Now, mountains can run dry. The top here is the fire, because he tampered with that. Fire is the stage. So once he tampered with that, something started to happen with him shining, okay, at the beginning of that. The dragon side, which is the wood, that's your creativity, and he has that. And then he's got the metal here, which is the morals, the virtue, all of that. Look at how big those cheeks are. Like that. The turtle is the water. So once you mess with your jawline, you mess with the way you communicate or any communication, and it becomes it is the kidneys. It's water. It's the kidneys. The kidneys is where you get your fear or courage. So he became fearful because he messed with it. Okay. So all these rivers, right? He no evil, see no evil, say no evil, text no evil, smell no evil. Okay. So all those fluids started to run dry because the mountains then blocked them, wasn't flowing. All right. The next one, as I said before, his hair, that amazing hair in that picture one, that amazing hair is self reliant. So he just had to give him a mic, you know, that energy, his own energy was just, he initiated his own energy. Nobody had to say, oh, Michael, show us this or Michael, do this. You just put him on a stage, start the music. The thing here is once this burnt, remember he had that, once that it changed, it all went downhill from that. Okay. So that is the hair thing. Now, the shape of his face, where am I? Shape, shape, shape. Okay. So all his features are actually chiseled. Okay. These features that he has expressive eyes, you know, we don't need to see his mouth when he's smiling. You can tell he's smiling from his eyes, that sort of thing. But what ended up happening is later on that face became more square and then the cheeks became sunken. So he was altering his destiny via his face. Okay. Now, the forehead has no creases, which meant all the lessons that were learnt, gone. I've got to make sure I cover everything. If you look at his face as well, there's a lot of vitality in his face. All right, there's a lot there. Uh, the next one is the eyes. Now, the eyes are the turning point. All right, so the eyes are that open nature. The eyes is when you start flowering. So it's your 30s. And I've put the I put the picture there. So your 30s. So your eyes become, you know, you've got I've just got a picture with my own eyes. All right, so you've got your 30s, you've got 31, 31, left eye. Here's my left eye. 31, 32, 30, no, 31, 32, 33, 30, 34, 35. I'm trying to imagine it with my eyes, but it's 30s. There's your 30s. So with his eyes, when you are flowering, your eyes are saying, look at me, because you're shining, you know, the intelligence, the receptors, people are receptive to you back. It's inner wisdom as well. And so with his eyelids, they were well defined, indicating self-control. And then once the eyelids changed, he changed as well, okay, in that way. All right, so now there's more pictures to go through, and I will go through that as we're looking at it. So not only did he change his eyelids, that change made him become a drama queen. So by the time he got to his 40, which is just there, okay, that bridge there, that became his 40s. Once he got into that, he became a drama queen. The eyebrows, he had amazing eyebrows. They were great. They were long. They were arched. They were even. They were tapered to a point, and they weren't broken. All right. You know, some people will put a break in their eyebrows. Your choice. But yeah, that's your 30s. So that was perfect. And then he started to arch them, which was not a problem. But then it got a little bit, it was moved. It was like, he was like that in the end. okay, in that 30 time span. The other thing is uh, the next one was, sorry, I've got to go back to this. All right, so the next one was the nose. So his nose, if you have a look at the picture where it says 2, he's only had his nose done a little bit, and there was still the 3 there. It was still good. The sizes were pretty good, you know, for what it should be, and that nose was just tapered a little bit. But remember, his nose being wide, wider means you hold more money, more success. It's your wealth palace, as we call it. So with his nose, what ended up happening then is he wanted more. He didn't like the way he looked, etc., etc. His nose was broad, it had courage, it had strength. Like I said, you give him a microphone and put the music on, or you didn't have to put the music on. It was fleshy, that was endurance, wide nostrils, but they weren't showing what's there. So even though the wide nostrils, even in that picture too, the wide, there was still hidden, not like this, not, you know, turning your nose up is basically what he ended up doing in the end. So then it was thinned out. So that picture number 2, the thinning out. What ended up happening to his wealth palace then is, because that's your 40s. So when I say, you know, your 40s, it's like 40, right side, uh, 41, 42, 43, 44, etc., 45, 46, and then 47. So that 47, okay, that's his 47, 48, and 49. They were non-existent by the time we get to picture 3. You can see his nose had changed and now it was like this. Now, when it goes like this, that means in his 40s, it becomes a danger palace rather than the wealth palace. Sickness and danger palace, and comes with it. And then with that came ill health, altering his destiny, and but it went to a negative, not to a positive. Okay. Now, from his mid 30s to 50, the nose and the whole area around the nose was sickness, danger, money issues to his nostrils, and there was no more storage of money. By the time he got to number 4 there was no storage of money. It was up and it was he was losing all of that. Then he had more lifts done, etc. So we were no longer looking at this beautiful broad face. We were looking at this face, and then you could see here that his mountains started to drop. The mountains were altered, they dropped. The mountain was altered, loss of money. And all of this here was after 50s, but he has lost his mountains, okay? They actually dropped. So when his nostrils became exposed, that storage, it means you're leaking money. And you see that in a lot of people that actually do have their nose done this way, then you start leaking your money. And you end up with what's called an impetuous nature. All right. And what he did with his children, you know, it's in his face. So children was, there's nothing bad about children in his face, because if you look here at his eyes through the whole time, that always remained clear. Okay, and that's kind of telling you that there were no issues with his children. He didn't mistreat children. He didn't this. So you know, for when I do end up doing his chart, you will see that what he was accused of actually could not have even happened. It's not in his chart. So it's up to you. I'm just telling you, in the destiny, it's a different thing as well. So we've got what we call gates. So your 30s, which is your eyes, is one gate. From here to here is up until you're 27, basically, and that's all you're learning. And that's your learning throughout life. But there was nothing there. He had that lifted, etc. So he lost all the lessons that he actually did have. He lost his money making ability. He lost his ambition. He lost his prosperity. He lost his support, which is the mountains. And the courage and the endurance was gone by the time he was at 47, 48, 49, that kind of thing. Early on in life, he had the beautiful seed corners, so these little things. Yeah, so they indicated creative and happy personality. And you could just see that, all right. Then we have this, what's called the filing. So it's this heaviness, this heavy, that. Okay. So he was doing what he was supposed to be doing, because that's what that is. It's like you're doing what you are meant to be doing. On his left side, there's a little bit of a mark there, but he removed all of that. So they were not deeper anymore, and deeper is better. And his was not, it was all like that. Okay. So with those, it means there was worry, and that worry began the minute these disappeared. There was nothing to protect his 50, which is the next gate right there. Okay, so deeper is better. It's not, a lot of people think, oh, it's a sign of aging, you know. It isn't. It's you are doing what you are meant to be doing. And that's what he was. He was doing what he's meant to be doing. Okay, see all that? These two mountains protected this mountain, but he lost all of that. Even though we didn't get to see him get to his 60s, because of what he had done, the time he got to 50, which is exactly this. If you look at old photos of him, this was deep. The philtrum was deep. But by the time he got to 4, there was no philtrum anymore, and 5 totally gone. There was no philtrum. That philtrum is very, very important, um, because it's law and order type of thing. There's a purpose for you in life, and now there was no purpose. And that's how he would have felt, because he altered his own destiny. And there's no longer a philtrum, which then meant he will not get to keep his children. Okay. Which also can mean in your 50s, probably not so much today because we live much longer, you know, age wise. But in the old days, it's like, you know, whether your kids were going to look after you or not. So he lost that, but that's because he passed away. Now, there is something here also important, that when he hit that 50, the actual day, we have a thing called an earth penalty in people's destinies that happen. Um, and in his destiny, the year he is born is a dog. His luck pillar of that time he was in, the 50 time, is an ox. So is the day, and so is the month. So there are 3 oxes here. 3 oxes is working very, very hard. And this is all earth, and he is earth. So he was working very hard at getting everything back in that sense. The hour. Now, the hour is not his hour of birth. The hour is the hour that whoever it was, that doctor that gave him what he gave him, that hour sealed what we call the earth penalty. So when we talk about the earth penalty, that's in his chart, which I will do that another time, not today. What you've got to remember is that the Jackson 5 with Michael were the first black boy bands. And I seem to be talking a lot about boy bands lately. I don't know. It's a year where we've got to, you know, the children are not treated right, etc., etc. But his biggest thing is, if you look in 4 to 5, the picture there is actually the cheeks. There was no more authority. And there was no guardsman of the nose. There was nobody guarding the wealth palace, all right? The protruding cheekbones with this tight face, it's losing your fortune. There's nothing here to help you hold on to your money. So the minute you get it, it's sunken. It's drowning, that sort of thing. So as I said before, it's not a sign of age. It is a sign of aging for some people, I guess, but deeper is much, much better. Um, he had, he actually had everything, seriously. So this hour that is here is that 2 hours where this doctor was there, blah, blah, blah. If he got through that 2 hours, Michael Jackson would still be alive because it was the hour that sealed it and caused the earth penalty. And the earth penalty is you don't see it coming. It's like the slap in the face, the punch in the guts, the whole world just crashes down on you. And that is it. There's nothing to protect you in that way. So you've lost your fortune in your 40s, and then at 50 there was just the hour. If I looked at his chart, I couldn't find why he actually did pass away in that time frame. Whether he's still alive or not, I don't know. I'm sorry. I know there's a thing going around that's called Dave Dave, and oh my God, I couldn't watch it. I'm sorry, I couldn't watch it. It did sound like him. It did behave like him, but I just couldn't watch anymore. One of my kids gave it to me to watch, and they knew I was doing Michael's. And yeah, I don't know. That's not what I'm here for. Anyway, the other thing is you've got to also remember that he established himself as this iconic thing. He won Grammys. He did everything that a person of color would never have done. Also, he is that creative. When I do his destiny via the elements, he he, Benny Blanco, Snoop Dogg, there's so many others. They're like they're twins, triplets, quads. They all have this creativity and they have this caring. So for people to say he did what he did, it's not there. I'm sorry, it is not there. All right. So, and I mean, I used to watch. You remember when the Jackson Five were a cartoon on Saturday morning TV? Anyway, he forced, or basically, he was the person that was the initiating, that started MTV to play black artists. So he basically, the stepping on the tiles in Billie Jean and the tiles would light up. He had to memorize that because all the tiles were supposed to light up, but they didn't. And he went around and in a split so many minutes. Yeah. So that's the creativeness. That's the talent of this man. And, it was done in black and white and he did it. He actually did it. It was the hour that why he's not here. And that is how you've got to live to the fullest because 1 hour can do that. And there's plenty of people that actually passed away in something like this where it was the hour and shot or stabbed. That didn't kill them. It's when they hit the pavement. That's the earth. It's called an earth penalty. Versace, uh, uh, not was I can't remember them. I'll write them down for when I do the destiny. They hit the ground. Lennon, yeah, when they hit the ground is what killed them. That's the earth penalty. For him hitting the ground, that was it for him. But if this person had kept him revived until the 2 hour passed over, we would still have Michael Jackson. All right. I'm hoping that helps you a little bit more. So I will do a little bit more of how you should work on your face if you want to. You really just need a mirror in that sense, and then you outline on the mirror the shape of everything. Yeah. So, all right. Have a great day.